Phone's buzzing for no apparent reason. Oh, my wife talking about where we're going to go to dinner. Good times, good stuff to look forward to. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Awesome Hardware. This is a live show about technology. We live stream every week on Tuesday evening at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And we stream the whole show to twitch.tv/awesomehardware. So hi guys, if you're watching on Twitch. Thanks for being here. We love you all. If you don't like Twitch because it's too purple, you can watch on YouTube. We already streamed the first half of this week's episode number 183 to Kyle's channel Bitwit. He's not here right now because he had to pee. But that's there. It's linked in the description if you want to check it out. If you're still watching live, thanks for being here on YouTube too. We love you guys so very much. Quick word of warning. We do drink some alcohol on the show, beer usually. Please join us if you can do so responsibly and you're of age and it's legal in your jurisdiction, of course. We occasionally use adult language, so watch out for that. And we have a good time. We talk about technology, and it's going to be great. Second half of the show, got some AMD news, got some Intel news. We're gonna do Sword Fight, the classic Sword Fight segment. So thanks for being here, guys. Now, real quick, I have an announcement, which is that if you are Billy Coates, and you tried to send something to my P.O. Box, which is P.O. Box 4325, Diamond Bar, California, 91765.
Yes.
Paul's Hardware. Billy, they didn't keep the package there long enough. They returned it. I'm sorry. So Billy, I'm very sorry that the package got returned to you. That was not my intent. Please, I hope they refunded the shipping costs, but please, if you can resend it, I would love to see what you were sending me.
How long had it been since you checked your P.O. box?
It arrived on March 11th. Today is April 2nd. They're supposed to hang on to it for 30 days, I thought, but this one got returned. So yeah,
maybe it was like 300 pounds or something. You don't know how big it was.
I don't know.
Maybe if it's a giant package,
if it was too big,
they don't wait a month.
I guess that's possible.
I don't know.
You never really know for sure. You know what I need to do still is open up that over there so I can see what my chat's saying.
What's in the box? Oh yeah, I should open up your chat too.
Yeah, that would be nice so we can talk to people.
By the way, thank you really quick to all the people who donated. I see some really nice donations. You guys are super generous. I'll be reading all the donation messages to those on the after party.
Yes.
We'll get around to you.
After party coming soon.
Thank you.
It's going to be great. But before all that, quick
party.
Quick plug. No, that's the wrong thing. So, whoa, that was weird.
What?
I don't know. It just did. Oh, because I hit a shortcut key.
What's that? Oh.
I showed everyone the show doc, which isn't a big deal or anything. It just, it's unprofessional. Here it is. My store. That's what I was trying to show you guys. Paul's Hardware is my store. If you guys want to buy stuff, our merchandise, go to paulshardware.net for my stuff. I have shirts, mugs, hoodies, pint glasses. It's all real high quality merch. So if you need a good hoodie, check it out and get one with my logo on it. Captain Thumbscrew, new design, super great. Everyone get one of those. I need to get one of these sent over so I can start wearing it so you guys can see it in direct
sunlight
detail. paulshardware.net though for my stuff in sunlight. Bitwit.tech/store is Cal's store. You can also buy stuff there.
Yep, I've got a lot of good stuff.
It's all great, and if you buy Awesome Hardware merch, don't worry.
Goes to both of us.
We share those. So order from either store. If you order during the show, we will shout out your name during the after party, along with all the people who make donation comments. So thanks for those. Let's get back to tech news.
On to the news.
Woo! All right. So we've been talking a lot about Ryzen 3000 series because we're excited about it.
Yep.
AMD's next generation of processors going to be based on 7nm manufacturing process, which is also pretty exciting. Potentially beating Intel to the die shrink, the single-digit die shrink. Well, I guess Intel would be doing 10nm, but anyway.
Yeah.
But we now have even more data on this. This was sourced from Reddit. The article's from Tom's Hardware. Linked in the description if you guys want to check it out. But this is a SciSoft database entry from the SciSoft official live ranker database. It appears to be a quad-core Ryzen 3000 series processor that was benchmarked and had data submitted because the benchmarker left the internet connection plugged in. The test was with MSI's Meg X570 Creation motherboard, which, if MSI is sticking with their current naming scheme, should be their top-of-the-line X570 board, which is supposed to be the new chipset that launches along with the Ryzen 3000 series. This is in, what is this, German? Yeah, that's German. Durchschnittlich Geschwindigkeit Lichtung. Sorry, I'm not very good with pronouncing the German.
Geschwindigkeit.
Anyway, there's some scores in there. I'll come back to the scores themselves. Because I'm going to say other things first. The product identifier is 2DS104BBM4GH2_38/34_N. Of course,
my first guess.
Everyone immediately is like, well, that's an engineering sample from AMD.
Obviously.
There's actually a better way to determine that, as detailed in the Tom's Hardware article, but we're just taking a shortcut. It's probably an engineering sample, which makes sense at this point in time. It is a 4-core and 8-thread processor. It has a 3.4 gigahertz base clock and a 3.8 gigahertz boost clock, as well as 4 megs of L2 cache and 16 megs of L3 cache. Also, a 65-watt TDP, which would also fall in line with the TDPs that current Ryzen 2nd Gen quad cores are falling within, even some 6 cores, depending on their clock speeds. Yep. As mentioned, this was derived from Reddit, or originally posted on Reddit. There is a Reddit discussion going on. Here, wait, is that Reddit? It's a Reddit post. Pull that up. There it is. There's a Reddit post. Anyway, I was gathering this information rather hastily, so I leaned on the Reddit commenters, which Reddit comments are often really, really helpful. But anyway, Loonkraz posted this bit of extra data about it. Again, links are in the description if you guys want to check it out. But long story short, we're looking at about 11% instructions per clock improvement if you were to compare a 4-core and 8-thread current gen Ryzen processor. I believe he used 2400G.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you compare current gen 2000 series processor to that score with a 4-core 8-thread part running at the same frequency, 11% improvement. Okay. Which is good, which also seems to fall in line with expectations.
Yeah,
it's not scale that up.
Great.
Scale that.
It's good.
It's not great, but that's good.
But it's good.
But scale that up to your 6-core and your 8-core and maybe your 12-core and 16-core parts, and that's a massive improvement, especially for the higher core counts, if they can maintain that IPC performance with the higher core counts and frequencies.
Sure.
Also, bear in mind we're talking about a 3.8 gigahertz boost, so we could scale up the frequency potentially a bit beyond that as well. Speculation is that the demos that AMD has been sharing thus far, like what they showed at CES, were running at 4 gigahertz. But we might get beyond that, since 2nd Gen Ryzen already is able to hit 4.2 to 4.3 gigahertz on 1 or 2 cores, depending on the quality of your chip and everything. Ryzen 3000 series processors are expected mid-year, according to AMD, so most of us are expecting that means a Computex at least announcement. We're not sure if it's launching right then or may actually launch a month later or so. Should have PCI Express Gen 4 support. This current generation is codenamed Matisse, and it will feature the new Zen 2 microarchitecture, 7nm process, and it's going to be produced by TSMC.
Was there an MSI Meg creation board for X470?
Yeah, I think so. Well, no.
I know there was one for.
Oh no, that's the Godlike I'm looking at right there.
Right, that was previously the
Z390 Godlike. Creation was
X299. I just did a build with one.
Was X299? Okay.
Yeah, but I think this is the first time that a creation board's been introduced to like the mainstream offerings, mainstream CPU offerings.
So.
Previously high-end desktop only, so that's a change. That's weird.
That's a change. That might be MSI trying to take the branding that they've done for the creation level SKU board that they've done with X299 and say, now that X299 high-end desktop level board that we make for that, we've now made one for X570,
right?
Because you can get a 16-core processor with 32 threads on that platform.
It definitely seems more high-end
which is kind of like blurring the line of a high-end desktop computer.
Yeah,
very, very, very much so. So
right.
that would make some sense. So cool.
That's cool.
All right. Moving on. That article, by the way, was from... Oh, I already said Tom's Harbor. Next article is from AnandTech. This one's by Ian. And he got to go and visit Intel at their Data-Centric Innovation Day. Hooray!
Heyo. DCID.
This is all enterprise stuff, so it's above most of our heads, to be perfectly honest. But the thing I like about enterprise stuff is just the raw performance that's often discussed there. And you'll often see
that we'll never use.
Stuff they do in the enterprise space that, you know, trickles down to some extent to the lower end. So first off, we have the next generation, the new second generation Xeon scalable processor, which is codenamed Cascade Lake. This is a shot of the processor itself. It's very large. Forget what LGA that version that is, but LGA
big.
Many pins. LGA thousands of pins. There's a little side-by-side chart here looking at first-gen Skylake SP to second-gen Cascade Lake. Now, I need to point out here that this is not new CPU architecture. It's still 14-nanometer Skylake based. So, same CPU architecture as existing Xeon, but they've done a lot of cool upgrades. Like hardware mitigations against Spectre and Meltdown. That, in the enterprise space, is a huge deal.
Oh, yeah.
Like, very, very substantial, huge deal. Because anyone who's working in a data center or working for a large company that might be a target for something like that, you want security against that type of thing. So that's good. We also have Optane DC persistent memory support, double the memory support, and up to 25% extra cores. You'll notice here on Skylake SP, we had the 8100 series that went up to 28 cores. Now we have the 9200 series going up to 56 cores and 112 threads on a single CPU package. That's not a single die, mind you. The 9200 Platinum, by the way. Look at this layout here. This is very similar to like a lot of the layouts we see for the like Threadripper stuff.
Yeah.
That's because we have dual dies, two 28-core bits of silicon on a single package, giving you that 56-core, 112 thread single CPU. Still very impressive, but you're talking about a 2P setup on a single package. So we have a 400-watt TDP. These are going to need to. These are going to require. There's a picture of Ian.
Hey.
These are going to require.
He looks happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd be happy too.
Great picture there, Patrick. But he's very the module, 128 gig Optane module, right? That's actually pretty cool too. 400 watt TDP though, so we're either talking very low frequencies overall or extensive cooling needed for something like that.
Right.
Still impressive that they're packing that much performance onto a single chip. It will be BGA only. It will sell directly to OEMs, so no, you can't buy one and build a gaming PC with it.
It's no DIY fun. Boo.
Yeah, that means they'll be soldered directly to proprietary motherboards and stuff like that. But yeah. Other than that, there's the Optane stuff. I'm not going to dive into that because Optane can be a little bit confusing. There's kind of a couple different ways it can be really implemented. But Optane on the enterprise space is also pretty exciting because you're looking at sort of a third level of storage that's sort of bridges the gap between system memory and long-term storage. So that's cool. What else? Intel Agilex, a new breed of FPGA. This is also a little above my head, but something I read and think ooh, that's cool. 10 nanometer samples of Intel Agilex will be available in Q3. I'm just going to read a quote from the article here so I don't screw anything up. With Agile X, Intel aims to offer that mix of acceleration and configuration, not only with the core array of gates, but also by virtue of additional chiplet extensions enabled through Intel's Embedded Multi-Die Interconnect Bridge, EMIB, technology. These chiplets can be custom third-party IP, PCI Express 5.0, HBM, 112G transceivers, or even Intel's new Compute Express Link cache coherent architecture. Intel's promoting up to 40 teraflops of DSP performance and is promoting its use in mixed precision machine learning with hardened support for bfloat 16 and integer 2 to integer 8 computing, I guess. Anyway, read the
over our
article
heads.
by Ian. He is a doctor after all, and he knows what he's talking about.
Dr. Ian.
Link in the description. There's some Xeon D stuff as well.
What does Agilex sound like to you? Agilex. It sounds like a medicinal cream or something.
It's FPGA, which is field programmable gate array. Gosh.
No, I just mean the name Agilex. It just sounds like the competitor to KY Jelly.
It does. You're right. It sounds. It sounds like a product that Shaq would advertise. Agilex.
Yeah, right.
Like
Never leave home without it.
I used to get pain after I would do sports, and now I use Agilex. I don't know.
Like it seems like a product you'd advertise followed by a list of symptoms, like just a list of endless symptoms. Symptoms may include drowsiness, sleepiness, thoughts of suicide.
Right.
It's a pharmaceutical.
Hopefully that doesn't extend to this as well. But you're right. That's
Everyone present your ideas in chat. That's fine.
All right, moving on. QuakeCon 2019. Article here from PC Gamer about QuakeCon. Very popular gaming event.
I'd love to go to a QuakeCon one of these days.
That would be cool.
It's on the bucket list.
Well, this one is coming later this summer. July 25th to 28th in Dallas, Texas is QuakeCon 2019. And although QuakeCon you would think would be very Quake-oriented, of course, lots of id Software stuff is celebrated there. And this year is the year of Doom, because Doom is celebrating its 25th anniversary.
Damn.
God, I'm old.
Quarter century.
Yeah, I know.
God damn.
It's loosely the 25th anniversary because Doom actually released in December 1993, which is 26 years ago. But like it launched at the end of 1993.
Yeah.
So all of 1994.
Yeah.
When you were 2 years old.
4, 5. I was 6.
In 94.
I was mature.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 6. How old were you?
I wasn't.
10.
I was 14.
14. God, you
now
are
you guys
old.
know how old I am. It's fine. I'm an old person. It's okay. I've accepted it.
You've accepted it. You've learned to live with it. It's like
so 13.
Try Agilex.
13, 14, and 94. But Doom, 13, 14 years old. Like you guys can imagine. Like I played this game a lot. It was good. It had everything except for like pointing the cursor up and down. You know, all you had to do was left and right.
Yeah.
Use your mouse.
There was no up and down, right?
There was no up and down.
Yeah.
Like if the monster's up here, you point here, and then it automatically will do the vertical for you.
I'm ashamed I never played OG Doom.
Yeah.
Could you crouch?
I don't remember.
So like shoot him in the nuts or get it.
I remember the passwords. IDDQD. I mean not the passwords. The cheats. IDDQD.
God mode.
IDKFA.
Yeah.
IDSPISPOPD.
Obviously.
That's the no clipping. Anyway.
No clipping. What does that mean?
You can go through walls. Yeah.
I like that.
Very, very useful.
They don't do that in games anymore. It's all gone downhill.
Anyway, very, very much nostalgia. Yeah, my friend's older brother would used to like get us, and then he'd like kick our asses because we were very new at it, and he wanted to just kick our asses at it. And, anyway,
took pleasure in destroying.
Good times, and they will be celebrating it at QuakeCon 2019.
Oh, that's fun.
It will, according to Bethesda, QuakeCon 2019 will include all new Doom-inspired activities, events, exclusives, developer panels, hands-on demos, new information about Doom Eternal, and a few surprises we aren't quite ready to talk about. Very mysterious. Features will be a big BYOC area as usual, hands-on with Bethesda games. Article speculates maybe some Wolfenstein Youngblood, which is the next entry in that series.
Right.
Case mod, swag, other stuff. Again, July 25th to 28th in Dallas, Texas. Is the registration open yet? I feel like they wouldn't be talking about it like this unless registration was already open. Registration for BYOC or the new QuakeCon Done Quick Pass with priority entry to all main stage events and early access to the exhibit hall on Saturday will open at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on April 11th. Okay, so tickets go on sale. For the fancy tickets, QuakeCon Done Quick, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, April 11th.
Quick.
General admission entry is free. So what?
QuakeCon.
QuakeCon. Is that what it? QuakeCon.
No,
done
I'm
quick.
just making a joke.
You're right.
Stupid
They
joke.
could have shortened that to QuakeCon.
Could have made it if they wanted it to be fast.
That's brilliant, Kyle.
Sorry.
I hope some QuakeCon marketing rep is watching.
It's already
Right now.
ingrained
They
in your
can-
brain.
You can take that
Can't
and
see
use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, general admission is free. So if you're in the Dallas area, I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. I apologize.
It's gonna be hot.
For any Dallas residents out there, I visited Dallas at the worst possible time to visit Dallas.
I was with you.
It was insanely hot,
It was terrible.
so I didn't have a good time. I'm sorry. Other than that, I'm sure Dallas is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. Okay. One last little story here for news. This is only vaguely tech related, but do you like Skrillex?
I used to listen to Skrillex
It's fine.
years ago,
It's fine if you
and
don't.
now I do not.
Well, maybe you should
listened to him
again
in
if you
ages.
go camping or something, because Skrillex could protect against mosquito bites, Kyle.
Is that because
This is-
mosquito bites are allergic to bad music?
This is science right here. According to a recent scientific study, you can avoid mosquito bites by listening to electronic music, specifically dubstep, and specifically
Skrillex.
by Skrillex. According to recent results published in the journal Acta adults of the species Aedes aegypti, which is known as the yellow fever mosquito, were subjected to electronic music to see whether it could work as a repellent. Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites, which is a track by Skrillex,
Familiar with it?
was chosen because of its mix of very high and very low frequencies. The results were that female adult mosquitoes were entertained by the track and attacked hosts later and less often than those in a dubstep-free environment.
Wow, so they're just like getting high off of Skrillex's music.
It's not. It's a natural high, Kyle. I mean,
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
They get high on
exactly.
life, high on Skrillex.
So you don't need to be like this dude with all this nasty fumigation and
Yeah,
stuff.
if you get a Bluetooth speaker, he'd be set.
This is
He could
apparently
just-
yeah.
he could
all
put
you
his
need is
guns
a
down.
Bluetooth speaker, pump some Skrillex.
Yeah.
Look, it's April now. A lot of you may be looking forward to making some plans for the summer. What can kill, a nice enjoyable evening by the lake or whatnot than
It's
like
true.
a swarm of mosquitoes?
Yep.
Just play some Skrillex. And
There you go.
maybe you could sync it up with like noise canceling headphones so you didn't have to hear it as well if you didn't enjoy the Skrillex, I guess.
There you go.
Maybe that could be an option there.
Right. Otherwise, your skin
Uh,
would be safe, but your ears would be bleeding.
Now there is a potential downside to this, and I don't know if this bleeds over to humans
Let me
at
guess.
all.
You have to listen to Skrillex.
No. Well,
Oh.
that's already been kind of covered, but
I don't want to shit talk Skrillex. I haven't heard anything new from Skrillex in like 5 years. But when he was hot and he was like the ninja of music at the time,
oh yeah.
my friends and I listened to him all the time because dubstep was cool, and
the dubstep.
we would just play
yeah.
beer pong to Skrillex and stuff, which also explains why we never got bit by mosquitoes.
See? You guys knew this way back then. Could have saved them a lot of research time and stuff like that. But
Yeah, we could have been this article.
But getting back to the downside, potential downside here, and this is only seems to have affected the mosquitoes, but I'm not sure how this might affect humans as well. Mosquitoes exposed to the song had sex far less often than mosquitoes without the music.
What?
So
I need someone to double down on this experiment. Is this real?
it's an article from
I would
the
love
BBC.
a second opinion.
The BBC is a
I
reputable.
know, it just sounds so ridiculous.
They have an English accent.
It sounds like an article
You
from
can't
The
listen
Onion.
to somebody speak with an English accent and not be like, that person obviously knows what they're talking about.
Oh my god.
Unless it's Cockney, of
That's
course.
true.
Then you'd be like, oh, that's so.
Oh, it's Brad Pitt, and he's about to get in a fight with a pikey.
That's pikey. That's not Cockney. It's completely different things.
It's all the same.
Our
Yeah.
English viewers are probably very
Offended.
offended right now. No, Cockney is just like,
You all
oh,
look alike, too.
that's so congenial. Like
Sure.
I like this person. Those are your two options when hearing
Nice save.
an English accent
Thanks for saving me.
as an American person.
Sure.
So yeah, Skrillex keeps the mosquitoes away, maybe less sex. That's the TLDR for that one.
Wait, so Skrillex not only prevents you from getting bit, but it also prevents mosquitoes from multiplying.
Yeah. I guess you could look at that that way.
Can we
It's
do?
gonna
Can we get?
produce
Is REI gonna start selling Skrillex in a can? You just spray Skrillex on your body, and it's
They're
just.
just like a Bluetooth speaker with Skrillex music preloaded onto it. You just push it and it plays. hang it from your thing.
The ultimate repellent.
I remember I would always go on with the DEET 100 stuff. You just have to go maximum chemical concoction to prevent the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
DEET 100, I don't know if it's toxic or whatever, but it keeps the mosquitoes away. That's the important thing.
No.
Then you had lots of people who do, like trying these other things, like the little clip thing that supposedly emitted some frequency or something that kept it. Yeah, it's all garbage. Skrillex though.
It sounds nothing like a Skrillex song.
Skrillex. That's solid science right there. Okay.
Absolutely.
Moving on. It's time for some sword fight.
Sword fight.
It's been a while since we had a good sword fight in here, so we have a couple questions here that we're gonna go for.
Okay.
In case you guys aren't familiar, sword fight, long running segment here on Awesome Hardware. We bring up a controversial subject, controversial topic.
Yep.
Kyle and I will take opposing sides to that subject. We will argue our sides. We also have a straw poll, which we invite you guys to participate in. Feel free to just, vote with your heart in the straw poll, or, wait to hear our arguments.
And then vote.
Let that sway your opinion.
We are influential.
We are
influencers
apparently. and you can do it that way. But it's up to you. But this one actually has a bit of backstory here, and that's Borderlands 3. Kyle, you played Borderlands, right?
I played Borderlands 2.
Some Borderlands 2.
I beat Borderlands 2 with some friends, and it was super fun.
Just a very entertaining game.
Absolutely.
And a game
funny
that a sequel launching for, I would be like, I would play that.
Yeah.
Because I remember enjoying the last version of it.
Right.
Bit of news here. Potentially, Borderlands 3 will be an Epic Store exclusive.
Oh, screw it! I'm never gonna play it again.
Well,
ever again.
That might be.
It's a deal breaker. Epic Store exclusive. That means I have to launch a different app to even play the game.
Store, rather than Steam.
I'll forgo 50 hours of joyous, glorious gameplay.
Now, according to this article,
this launch that stupid app.
Obviously, save time saved. That's very important.
I'm just kidding.
That's what my video earlier today was all about.
I saw it.
Thank you. Nothing's confirmed 100% at this point, but it really does look like it's going to be Epic Store exclusive. First off, Randy Pitchford, what does he do? He's a dude.
He's a dude.
There he is.
He's the dude.
He's the box of Gearbox, the developer.
Of course.
He made some comments, but let's talk about where this originally came from. The Borderlands Twitter account tweeted. It included a video. They deleted the tweet pretty quickly. It seemed like maybe it was a scheduled one or something that fired off at the wrong time. Specifically, those said, coming September 13th. So that's the first part of this, I guess. If you are interested in Borderlands 3 and the potential launch date of it, does seem like we're looking at a September 13th launch, because this was from the official account. Quickly deleted, but usually that means like, oops. Right. And I can't see them, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to throw shade. You never know. Companies can do something like that too, but it seems somewhat reasonable. September 13th launch date.
That's a long way off, yeah.
It's a while off, but then looking more closely at the video attached, we can see this screen cap right here, which is gone now, which is very useful. Come on, Wario64. Yeah, let me see if I can open this in the window.
So someone is.
All right, so see down here in the lower left corner?
Right.
This is the developer,
2K.
Distributor, publisher. This is the store, Epic Games. You might notice there's no mention of a Steam or other platforms there. So yeah, and just this being what seems to be a pretty official trailer.
Right.
And there being no other mention of any other store on there.
Right.
That's kind of where you lean.
Well, that's what happens. I guess that's what happens when your platform lands the biggest and most popular game in the world, which is Fortnite.
Well, Epic.
Then these developers just want yeah, sure, I'll sign the deal, like exclusive, all this bullshit.
And I feel like there's certain platforms who have gained a lot of users on the platform due to the success of a single franchise,
right?
Like a Fortnite or an Apex Legends, or whatever. So any developer that owns that platform, or publisher, or whatever, who owns that platform, they're going to look for longevity. They want other titles to come on there. So and having an exclusive is a great way to force people to do that because it's the only way they can play that game.
And they've got the funds to make it happen.
Following up to that, Randy Pitchford, who again is the CEO, I guess, I don't know if that's his official title, the boss of Gearbox. His response: Take-Two has exclusive publishing rights for Borderlands 3 and makes all decisions regarding price points, territories, distribution, and platform partnerships. Please direct all inquiries regarding any of these topics to 2K. We are just the talent. As a customer, I'm happy to shop in different stores. Already do. I've bought games from Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, Steam, Origin, GOG, Humble, Uplay, Epic, and other stores. To me, exclusives are fine when they come with advantages and when they are short. Say 6 months.
Ah. Maybe there's a little
that's 2 of
hint
3.
drop
Can
in
we
there.
View this
Where's the third
I
one?
view this conversation on Twitter. Where's the third? And for what it's worth, 2K's decisions aside, myself and the team at Gearbox have a very keen interest in cross-platform play. We believe multi-platform support is a prerequisite, and Epic's leadership with cross-platform support is helpful to our interests here. So he made
That's
several.
a reassuring
He
note.
made several points there. None of the points were saying this is not Epic exclusive. So that
Right.
he also made some points, and that's what we're going to argue about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is this okay? So guys, we'll post this in chat and everything. Let's draw a poll. Please vote. Is it okay for Borderlands 3 to be Epic exclusive? And we got 2 options. We got your yay and your nay.
Mm-hmm.
Got a third option there too for those who are interested. I'm posting this link
This is a
in
tough one.
chat.
This is a toughie. This is a toughie.
It is tough. So you have to choose.
Okay.
One side or the other. Kind
of. Okay. I'm gonna say yes. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
I've got Steam for some games. I've got Uplay for no games. I've got Origin for a couple. And fuck it. Let's do Epic for a couple games. Games are all that matter. The platform matters to a degree, but I will sacrifice having to open up a shitty platform or even a platform from a company who I don't 100% agree with if the game is good. Okay? At the end of the day, it's about the game. And also, I have like 5 apps for fucking RGB. So why can't I have more than 1 or 2 apps for a goddamn game? I don't see it. I'll live with it. I'll live another day. I'll be fine. I'll move on with my life. I'll die a happy person. I'll be fine. Shit.
All right, that was a corporate response. Maybe not quite as
super corporate.
Maybe not quite as sugar-coated as the corporate response usually is. But that's the corporate response if they were to not give a fuck and just
if they were
just tell it
corporate at all.
Tell it how it is.
Yeah.
All right. So I
got.
obviously will take the position of no. The Epic Store is lacking many of the features of other platforms, particularly Steam. Having a choice in where to buy is always better. As Randy already mentioned, Randy Pitchford, he purchases from many different platforms, and when it comes to like capitalism for what it's worth has its pros and its cons.
Right.
But if you want to look at the fundamental thing that capitalism is supposed to get right, it's supposed to provide choice for the consumer, and that choice is supposed to create competition between the various choices, and the virtue of that competition between the various locations where you might purchase a product or buy a game means that all of those different sources or platforms continually try to one-up each other to improve themselves, and that benefits the consumer. Because you have a bunch of choices, and those choices continually try to differentiate themselves by making themselves better. Now, I'm going to cheat here, because I have no qualms about doing so.
Cheater.
And scrolling down some of the responses, this is kind of a slightly biased image here, but I only bring it up because it's pointing out many of the benefits of the Steam platform in particular. Cloud saves, family sharing, Linux support, mod hosting, in-home streaming, achievements, user reviews, big picture mode, leaderboard, universal controller support, community guides, unlimited refunds, VR support, custom profiles, external key sales, cloud screenshots, friend activity.
Friend activity?
I haven't dabbled much in the Epic Store when it comes to that. So, and like I said, I'm cheating a little bit. And this is just like a picture that somebody put together online. I'm mainly bringing it up to point out that there's a lot of stuff that the Epic Store does not currently have. Steam benefits in many ways from being a platform that has existed for a very long time and has evolved over time, again, kind of in the same way I talked about earlier, to provide more services to customers. So, by making this an Epic Store exclusive, you might say, like, well, it doesn't matter. It means you're buying it from point A instead of point B. You're missing out, potentially, on a bunch of extra cool stuff that could be available alongside the game with Steam that you no longer have access to because it's the Epic Store. But hey, at least you can, chat with your Fortnite friends, I suppose, right?
Yeah, that's great. Let's just let Steam have all the games all the time so that inevitably when one day Gabe Newell dies and it's taken over by some fucking tyrannical leader, it's all we have, and there's no obvious great alternative, and we're completely fucked.
That is the best and a very good answer to that, because I'm going outside of this Q&A here.
Right? Yeah, so was I.
But Steam being a monolithic single source for all games and everything is also a bad thing in time. So I'm interested
to argue against yourself.
You're right, you did. You totally did. You flipped it all backwards there. But, it's good to try to take a step back and look at things from different perspectives.
Indeed.
That's what this is about. Let's see what the results are.
Come on.
We have no.
All right.
We actually have a pretty strong showing for yes, though, and I think that is going back to that last thing we were saying. Like, we want some competition, and I think that's the confusing thing. There's also 16% of people who regularly pee their pants rather than showering.
That's probably concerning.
Hygiene I think is important, you guys. So I think you should.
This warrants further research.
Consider that as a long-term approach. Maybe occasionally mix it up. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, 34% of people, roughly a third, think that it's a good thing to some extent. So. This is like the reason I brought this up today was because like
controversial. It's hard.
I don't have a single direct answer to this myself.
Yeah.
It is kind of frustrating to be forced to use the Epic Store to get Borderlands 3. I would like to see more choice in the game platforms. I get kind of irritated when suddenly I have to install 4 or 5 different platforms on a new PC to access the different games. Suddenly it becomes 2.
Sure.
So I don't know. I don't know where the sort of balance point is in between there, between having a few, like 3. There should be 3.
But don't you also like having different brands of products in your house, like different appliances? Don't you like having an appliance from Samsung that works really great as a fridge, but an appliance from whoever that works really great as a stove?
But I guess
isn't it kind of the same thing? Like,
I guess in my house, I don't have the thing with like applications that automatically start when I boot up my house and that run in the background using up my house's background resources.
You can't disable that? I mean, can't you just
disable that
not to start up on Windows?
But with me, it's more of a frustration because I build lots of different computers to test stuff, and I know that's a more unique problem, but it's irritating to have to go and do all those different installations of the different platforms. On the different computers, and do that every time if I don't want an auto start. So yeah, 3. I think there should be 3. That's my solution. I want 3. I want 3 Steam and 2 other good ones. 2 others that are good.
Sure, we'll keep origin around and maybe
that all kind of battle it out on a roughly level landscape. That's like enough diversity to keep each other honest.
Yeah.
Without being like, shit, I gotta install 6 different clients.
In a weird way, aren't you almost kind of excited because all of these new platforms emerging on PC means growth for the PC platform?
Yes.
In a sense, you're like, whoa, like there's a lot of more money being interested in PC.
Yes,
that's cool. There's more competition in PC. People have more. Their sites are on PC more than ever.
I've had a bunch of people respond to my How to Build series and say like, hey, I built this system. I've had a lot of father-son kind of combos.
Yeah.
Tweet, which is awesome. I love getting that.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, here's my son. Computer's just set up. He's loading up, and it's him with Fortnite loading. And I'm like, I see. I understand that. You know? But that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, if they played on a console or whatever, or if all their friends play or something, you know, that's called a gateway drug, I think.
Yeah,
but yeah.
That's exactly right.
Point being, this remains an open subject, and I think we'll probably come back to it in the future as well. All right, here's the next question. We're gonna try to go through this one a little bit more quickly, but this one's an age-old question when it comes to computers, and we're just talking Intel versus AMD. So we're talking CPU side here.
Okay.
In case you want to be more specific, Intel versus AMD. People got to make this choice all the time on a daily basis, especially if you're building for the first time or if you're building for the first time in a while. What do we think right now? We have a wide variety of choices from both manufacturers, and you know, there's pros and cons, I think, on either side. So this is yet again.
Such passive aggressive answers.
Well, I'm trying not to lean it one way or the other. Sel, thank you for posting the links in chat, by the way. Sel, our moderator. We love him. Thank you, Sel.
We love Sel.
All right, so
yeah, I went first last time, so.
You went first last time. All right. You went first last time, and I feel like you picked the more controversial choice. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go Intel.
Okay.
Intel, you can't beat the fastest. Now, here's my reasoning. First off, our content deals primarily with building your own computer. I think if you're going to build your own computer right now, there's a good chance you're building your own computer to play video games, because there's lots of choices for accessing the internet and browsing the web and getting stuff done without necessarily building a full-on desktop. Building that to play games is going to be where it's at. When it comes to playing games, if you want to get the most out of the graphics card that you choose in all circumstances, particularly in lower resolution circumstances, you're going to want Intel. It has the best single core performance, which in the vast majority of scenarios equals the best performance out of your graphics card. In situations where everything else is equal and you have an Intel processor and an AMD processor, there will be more likelihood that you will get less performance out of the graphics card with the AMD processor than you would with the Intel. And yes, it costs a little bit more. Sure, you gotta pay a few more bucks.
$2 more.
But you know, who wants to have the fastest processor out there if everyone can also afford it? You know, you need some barriers to entry. You need a bit of a gated community for the true enthusiasts out there who, let's face it, just a little bit better than everyone else because of the processing performance of their computer. That's what it boils down to.
I appreciate the satirical response, so that no matter what the results are, you can't lose.
That was perfectly honest.
So I obviously have to say AMD, because I mean it blows Intel out of the water when it comes to, as mentioned in the straw poll, price to performance, right? And as Paul said, you do make the most of your GPU when you go Intel, right? It allows it to breathe a bit more than with an AMD counterpart. But like Paul also mentioned, that's particularly more effective at lower resolutions. So let's say 1080p being the most common resolution that people are gaming at, are you really going to spend 5x, 3x, 2x, even 2x amount more on a CPU to get more frames per second at 1080p when you could easily just save a bunch of money, put it more towards your GPU, right? The money that you would save on a Ryzen CPU versus buying an equivalent Intel CPU at the moment, oh my god, you could put that towards your GPU. And since games are more or less GPU dependent these days, as they have been for quite some time, that would benefit you a lot more in the long run if your primary task is gaming. If we were arguing this on maybe, say, a video editing plane, then I think maybe things would be different. But I don't think I need to really argue this any further because I think I win.
Do you? Do you?
And you all know. You all know I'm right. You all know I'm right.
Such confidence.
And if I lose in the straw poll, it's because you're all trolling.
All right, here we goes.
Telling you.
AMD.
Who?
Man.
Who?
Even
in the hole.
Even a bigger differential there from the last straw poll.
Right.
So wow. So Intel.
It's a good point.
Lesson to be learned here. Any Intel reps? Did Hero just move the camera? Maybe slightly. That's fine.
16 people don't need a calculator.
Any Intel reps watching right now? Just lower your prices slightly. Just make it. You don't have to match AMD.
Yeah. They're faster. They don't need to be the same price. They should be more expensive.
Just drop it a bit.
Yeah.
Like it's like
seriously. We're not asking for a miracle.
It's so weird when you can get a 6-core, 6-thread AMD processor, which you can overclock to be within a percentage point of any 6-core, 6-thread AMD processor, 6-core 12-thread, AMD processor.
Right.
And the nearest Intel 6-core 12-thread processor to compare it to
infinitely more expensive
is the 8700K if you want to go unlocked.
Yeah.
So you can overclock it.
Like any of the
which
AMD
is $360, $370.
Yeah.
That's $200 more.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. Like that's a hard sell for somebody who's like what's the real difference?
Yeah.
Like, well, if you get a really high-end graphics card and you play at 1080 and you turn the settings down, you probably would get like 10 or 20 more frames per second on the like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes from like 160 FPS to 180 with the Intel.
Right.
And you're like, my monitor is 60 hertz.
Yeah.
And it's 2560 by 1440.
Right.
And like, oh, well, there's no difference at that resolution. Oh. So why should I spend $200 more?
Exactly.
Anyway,
I feel like when first gen Ryzen first launched, it would have been fine. Intel could still charge the prices that they're charging now because AMD had such a bad rap and reputation at the time for just being infinitely slower than and a worse deal than any Intel chips. But it's been 2 years since then, and people have caught on. Even people who don't really know PCs or PC hardware or who aren't as enthusiastic about PC DIY as we are know by now, 2 years down the line after Ryzen first debuted, that it's a really good value, and Intel needs to scale their prices accordingly, which they haven't. They're still charging for their chips like they were still, as if they were still the king of value back then. So,
or as if AMD's products were somehow hamstrung, which you could make the argument for back in the bulldozer and days and their past generation of stuff, which launched like 5 years before Ryzen. But it's really not the case anymore. Anyway, guys, that is all I've got from my half of the show. So thank you all so much for watching. And if anyone wants to do timestamps, we greatly appreciate that. Your Everyday Tech has been doing those. Really, really many thanks for that. I'll pin those again. We're going to continue the debauchery in the after party, which is linked in the description. It's going to be super casual and fun, so join us there if you want.
And then and then we'll do a Twitch raid at the end, so you guys get to all bombard a random Twitch channel. That'll be
super fun. All right, so we'll see you there. If you're on Twitch, stay right where you're at. If you're on YouTube, links in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. Thumbs up button on your way out. We'll see you briefly.
Boy.
Shortly.